Hello everyone, welcome back to Storytime. We are currently reading The Willigrews 2 by Terry Tarbox, and Terry is a local author who has very kindly said that we can read his stories, and this book is illustrated by Terry's niece and her name is Wendy Wheatley. So we are still reading story number 4, The Willigrews and the Mighty Stump of Doom, and we are now on part 3. So they've just found a sausage man curled up asleep at the side of the road, or at the side, because they're climbing up the tree stump. So let's see what happens next. So sit yourselves down, get comfortable, and we will carry on. We were lucky there, sighed Longstint in relief. You were not, said Duffy, swooping down toward them. You've both got purple noses. The Willigrews looked at each other and gasped. Then they looked at Duffy and exclaimed, "And you've got a purple beak." "Oh no," cried Duffy. "I look all exotic like some parrot from foreign parts or something. What am I going to do?" The other two tried to reassure the little bird by telling him that the purple effect might wear off after a while and that he'd soon be back to normal. "Let's look on the bright side," said Rusin. "Our noses could have turned beige, which is so last year. I mean, purple might turn out to be this year's black, fashion-wise." Duffy didn't seem convinced, but agreed to carry on anyway. So off the little threesome went, taking their purple noses with them. By now it was beginning to get dark, so they decided to stop for the night under a clump of dead moss, which was dry and warm. They brewed up some chickweed tea and made a supper of chickweed scones with lashings of jangleberry jam. As they sat munching and slurping, Rusin asked Longstint, "Well, I wonder what tomorrow holds for us, old furry friend." "I don't know," replied Longstint, "but I hope it doesn't involve any more colour changes to any of our body parts." Then they settled down for the night, curled up and went to sleep, snoring through their purple noses. Duffy sat on a tree, tucked his purple beak under his wing and drifted off for the night. They all slept soundly, unaware of the dark, blurry thing that was watching from the shadows, waiting to make its move. Not hearing the low growling sound it made as it watched them with its piercing, blood-red eyes. Next morning, bright and early, the Willigrews awoke to the sound of Duffy singing and chirruping his little head off. "Oh, I wish I didn't have to do that dawn chorus stuff," he complained. "It always gives me such a headache." "Sounds fine to me," said Longstint, yawning and stretching and scratching his furry green armpit. "Me too," agreed Rusin. After having some breakfast, the little band of adventurers carried on upward until they came to a sign which read, "Welcome, strangers. You are about to enter the realm of Princess Tabitha. Prepare to be reasonably impressed by her stunning beauty." After walking a bit further, the Willigrews were surprised by a large beetle, dressed in military uniform and blowing a long horn very loudly. "Visitors approaching, your highness," it said. "They look like 2 small gooseberries on legs, and they have a flappy thing with them. Shall I let them pass?" The Willigrews were miffed. So was Duffy. "We're miffed," complained Longstint. "See, I told you they were miffed. We are Willigrews and are not related to gooseberries in any way." Then, to the Willigrews' amazement, the ground began to lighten with a rosy glow. Soft music began to play, and the sun shone much more brightly. And there, before them, stood an amazingly beautiful figure, dressed entirely in pink silk. Her eyes were big and round. On her head, which was covered in curly fair hair down to her shoulders, she wore a coronet, which was so sparkly it almost blinded the Willigrews. Seeing Rusin shielding his eyes, the princess said, "Sorry, I will turn my sparkles down a bit for you." "Thank you, your great majestiness," said Rusin. "Thank you indeed, your high pinkness," added Longstint, bowing a bit. The princess then said, "Welcome, strangers. I am Princess Tabitha, and I am so pleased that you have come to visit me in my princessdom. I hope you will stay for a while. It's nearly breakfast time, and we are having royal sausage and regal chips." Longstint didn't fancy the idea of having chips for breakfast, but the sausages persuaded him. "We would be most honoured to breakfast with you, your most high ladiness," he said. There's no need to stand on ceremony with me, little ones, she continued. Most people call me Tabs. I may be astonishingly beautiful and extremely regal, but I am really down with the kids. The guard then showed them to a huge round table laden with large bowls of sausages and chips. The Willigrews washed their hands in the silver bowls provided and began to eat the food. When Princess Tabitha joined them, Longstint and Roosin stopped eating and stood up until they were asked to sit down again. Now then, you must tell me all about yourselves, asked Princess Tabitha. Where are you from? To which tribe do you belong? But, most important of all, why have you ventured into this dangerous place? We are from a village called Willigrew, explained Longstint. Our tribe is called the Willigrews, and being a tribe that likes to explore, we thought we would see what was at the top of this mountain. Well, I hope you are prepared for all the perils that lie ahead, warned the princess. I see from your purple noses that you have already met the sausage man. However, mark my words carefully, brave Willigrews. There are much great dangers ahead, and I can only protect you while you are in my princessdom. Oh, I almost forgot. If you see a fairy called Chloe, would you give her this recipe for me? It's for jumbly dumplings, and do please give her my royal regards. We will, of course, and thank you for your kindness, Tabs, but we must get on, said Roosin. They finished their meal with noble scones, majestic honey, and stately cream, then ventured forth, or was it fifth, accompanied by the guard who marched beside them, saying, Left, right, left, right. The guard told the Willigrews that they would be safe until they reached the enchanted turnip plant, because no evil being could enter her pinkness's realm, and they must proceed unprotected. Just as they saw the turnip plant up ahead, Duffy returned, sat on Longstint's shoulder and said, Sorry I had to leave you for a while there, chaps. I had an appointment with the head scrunnock to see about getting a promotion to deputy head scrunnock. The interview went very well, and she said she would let me know in the next few days. They welcomed Duffy back and then approached the enchanted turnip plant. It didn't look all that enchanted, just an ordinary plant, until it started to flash with a glaring red light. Then, to Roosin's surprise, it spoke. Aha! It said. Fooled you! I am no ordinary vegetable. I was enchanted by the spell of the witch, with the bad dress sense and even badder breath. She gave me the power to do great evil, but we turnips are fairly friendly as vegetables go, and I have discovered how to do great good. If you each take one of my leaves, you will possess the power to disappear for 3.5 minutes. However, you can only use this power once. When you want to disappear, just turn around 3 times. The Willigrews thanked the turnip, gently picked the leaves and carried on. No sooner as they stepped out of the princess's realm than it started to pour with rain, followed by flashes of lightning and rumbles of thunder. Run for cover, squealed Duffy. It's a thunderstorm. Oh, thanks for that, replied Longstint jokingly. I thought it was just a cool breeze. They soon found shelter in a cave carved into the bark of the wood. That was a bit sudden, chirped Duffy, shaking his feathers to dry himself. I hope it doesn't last too long. Roosin stood at the entrance to the cave, looking out at the rain. The others soon joined him and waited quietly for the storm to stop. I wonder, Duffy pondered, why the rain always comes down. I'll do that again, I'm so sorry. I wonder, Duffy pondered, why the rain always comes down. Why doesn't it sometimes go up? Who knows, answered Longstint. Oh, that'll be the gravitational force, said Roosin knowingly. Ah, I thought it might be, said Duffy, who then paused and asked, What's gravitational force when it's not wearing bed socks? It's the attraction due to the gravitation that the Earth or other astronomical object exerts on an object on or near its surface, explained Roosin. Well, I never, said Duffy. I didn't know that. I'll never look at rain in the same way again. I'll probably close one eye and look at it that way. Longstint was amazed that his little green mate knew that, but didn't say so. He just felt proud. Then Longstint said, "I think the rain sounds like music. If you listen carefully, it goes tinkle, tinkle, pitter-patter, tinkle, patter, pitter, tinkle." Said Rusin. "Nice tune, but I don't think much of the lyrics." "All right, it needs work," said Longstint, "but you see what I mean." The others said they did. The rain started to ease off, so they decided to carry on. The ground was very wet and sloshy, which the two Willigrews thought was fun. They stamped their feet as they walked, singing, "Splishy, sploshy, splash, splash, splish, splosh, splash. Our fur is soggy, splish, splosh, splash." "Don't get too wet," warned Duffy. "You'll get cold in your feet." The others were about to explain to Duffy that you can't get a cold in your feet when Rusin's big toe sneezed, so they kept quiet. The journey hadn't been too bad so far, apart from a few minor hitches, but the Willigrews and Duffy would not be prepared for what was up ahead as they approached the mossy forest. It was dense and dark as they entered under the canopy, and they had to push the branches away to get through. There was an air of danger in this strange place, and our little threesome could sense it. At last they came to a clearing. All was quiet. Then, out of nowhere, came a blinding flash. The ground shook and steam began to rise from the wet ground. Then, as the dust cleared, standing before them was a terrifyingly ugly witch. She let out a huge cackling laugh, followed by a high-pitched scream. Her breath was so smelly that when she screamed, the Willigrews held their noses in disgust. As for her dress sense, she was wearing ice blue jeans under her black cloak. Not a good look for any fashionable witch. So we will leave it there and find out what happens next tomorrow at 2 o'clock, where we will continue with the Willigrews 2 and the Willigrews and the mighty stump of doom. So I will see you then. Bye-bye.